Hey guys, welcome back to Vince Vale Customs. Today we are going to change the oil in my Silent-Aire 20A compressor. Now, the compressor is very complicated in the sense that the directions show like diagrams for different compressors. It's weird. I don't understand why Silent-Aire doesn't show this specific one in their catalog and exactly what to do on this model. It's very weird. I don't understand it. Everybody's always confused of where you put the oil in, what you do this, what you do that. They should just show the diagram of this specific model, where it goes, how to do it, and go from there. Or if they have different models but a 20A, they should show those different models and how you do each one, because everyone gets very complicated. I don't know, but basically hopefully this video helps you guys out down the line. So, basically on my channel I did a review on the thing and people were talking how you change the oil and always asking questions and try to help as much as I can, and it was pointed out to me, you know, you should change the oil, and even in the thing it says you should change the oil like every so many hours. Now I've had this for about like I think 5 years now, but the first year I had it, I really didn't use it as much because I wasn't airbrushing as much because I was working full time and I could only do what I could do. And then in 2011 I was in a really bad apartment and I only painted maybe like 4 or 5 items that year. So in a sense, even though the oil is pretty much old, I really didn't use it as much. But it is time to change. So what I did was I called up Silent-Aire and I got a tech guy on the phone and I asked him what I'm supposed to do. Now there's 2 ways of doing it. Now this is the oil that came with it. This is pretty old. I don't know if the color is, maybe that's why it's maybe it's just old and it's got to be redone. But I did pick up a new bottle of oil. It is a compressor oil from Silent-Aire. It's specific oil. It doesn't say it on the thing. I don't know why. But you got to make sure you have specific oil for your Silent-Aires. You just can't go over to a car shop or and just throw any oil in there. There's specific kinds. But basically what they said was there's 2 ways of doing it. Now, I'm going to do it the easier way. It might be a little bit messy, but basically in the back here where this piece is with the air filter, you pop that. When you pop that off, you can actually pour the oil in there, and that's what I did. So what they said is you pop that off and you turn it over, and you can pour out all the oil. Or you can take off all the casing, unscrew this latch, and then take out the top piece, and you can pour it out. But I know my luck, I would really screw it up, and I really don't want to do that. I just want to try to do it the best way possible, at least get a lot of the bad oil out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this outside, I'm going to set it up, I'm going to rig it up somehow where I can kind of lean it, and I'm going to pour out the oil in here. Now what I might do is get like tin foil and kind of make like a makeshift like funnel type thing so it doesn't go all over the place. And then basically you're supposed to dispose of the oil correctly, so after I put on the oil, get all that oil out in the container, I'll put it back in here and then I'll dispose of it correctly somewhere in town. I'll have to go find out where I do it in the town here where I moved to. But then I'll let it sit for a while, make sure all the oil's down, and get it all out, and then I'll fill it up with the new oil. So give me a little bit, we'll get this set up outside, and I'll see if I can film me draining it and how I set it up, and then after that we'll go from there. Okay guys, as you saw, what I did was I have PVC pipe in the garage, so what I did is I cut up a piece and I put it at the end over there, and I made it easier when I turned it over that it wasn't going to be hitting the metal, so it would just go out like a nice funnel. So that worked out pretty cool. Now the thing is, as you saw in the video, I kind of turned it because I think there was like kind of like air pockets coming in, so I had to kind of turn it upside down and get some air out, turn it upside down, and just kind of get it to the point where all the oil was coming out. And off the camera, I let it sit a little bit, and then I turned it back out, and I wasn't getting any more oil at all. So I don't know what was going on. I think basically what happened was, and I forgot about this, at some point last year, I looked at the oil at the thing, and I wasn't seeing any level here. So I actually took more oil out of that, and I poured it in, and I got it back to that level. So I think after all these years, I did burn some of the oil, and it did evaporate or whatever happens, and the reason why that's kind of empty on there is because oil just got burnt out and used. So I was saying to myself, how come it's not filling up to here? But of course, I probably used a lot of oil. So I put it all in the old container just to see where I was at and see how much I filled up. And even though I was pouring it in the tin foil, I'm like, there's not a lot of oil in there. And I realized this thing doesn't take up that much oil. So I'm gonna let this sit for a bit, and then just let it just let anything oil go down, and then I'm going to fill it up back up there and get it to that point, and then after that we'll do some tests and make sure I did it all alright. Now, in essence, like when I talked to the guy in Solanaire on the phone, was basically you take this apart, and then you go into the big compressor piece, the fan, and you unbolt that, you pull it out, and then you can pour all the oil out, and you can get it really nice and clean. Now, I don't want to do that at this point in time because I have a funny feeling I might screw something up. And like I said, Solanaire doesn't really give you like really good diagrams and details. I still don't know why, but they should. So I think what I'm going to do is, since this has been like 5 years old, I'm going to do it with just changing the oil this way and putting in a nice fresh batch. And then maybe another year or two down the road or 3 years down the road, I'll see where I'm at. If the compressor's still running good, what I will do then is I probably will take it apart and completely pull out the piece and pour out the oil, wipe it down, get it nice and clean, and go from scratch, and then put a nice fresh batch of oil in. But for now, I'm just doing it the fast way just to get some good oil in there and just to make sure it keeps going for another few years. So other than that, I'm going to let this sit. We'll come back, we'll fill it up, and we'll do some tests, make sure everything's running okay, and we'll go from there. So we'll see what happens. Alright, so now I am ready to pour in some of the oil. So basically, as you can see, that piece right here, okay, so that right there, that's where I pour the oil, and the tip goes into there. And then after that's done, the air filter, or whatever this is, I forget what it is, it goes back on top of that. But when you pour it in, you got to make sure that this is your oil line, so you got to get the oil going halfway there. So you want to pour it in, let it go, let it sit, go around, and let it fill up. Because if you pour over much and it goes over the oil thing, that's not good. So basically, I'll set up the camera, and then actually what we can do is, what I'll do is I'll pour it in, and then we can kind of watch it from here. So let me set that up and we'll go do that. Just to try to give you an idea, what it does is little bubbles come out, and I'm squeezing a little bit here and there. Because if you pull it out and try to squish too much in there, it's not going to go through. And I did cut the tip a little bit because it was just like a tiny pinhole, so I made it a little bit bigger. But the problem is not getting gotta kind of not push it all the way in, so you can get a little air come through the bottle. Very slow. Just by all that time, as you can see, I only got that much through. It was up to here, I got that much through. Alright, it's starting to get there a little bit more now, as you can see. It's starting to fill up. Almost there. I think that's about good. Alright. So I've got all the oil in. And looking pretty good. And we got to put the cap in over in here. Alright, so let me get this back in its position and we'll turn it on and see what happens. Alright, so as you can see, we're at the halfway point, which is good. And as you can see, it took up this much oil. And as much oil as I poured out, because this was about there, I got about that much out. So basically, I guess it was pretty low on oil too, which is not a good thing, but we got it filled up. So let's kick this back on and we'll see what happens. Not hearing any problems. It's very quiet. Shake it around a little bit, make sure we get all the, let's put it up really high. So we're looking pretty good. Nice and quiet. No noises. It went down a little bit, but I think that's because I just used it, and I think as it goes down, it goes up and down, just going through the parts. But I'll check it, like, you know, tomorrow after I use it a little bit. But that's pretty much how you change the oil, at least how I did. Like I said, this is probably the easier / not as perfect way, but I guess in another year or two, as I goes on, I'll pull this sucker apart, do another video, and really change the oil, see what happens. But I guess there's a difference. As you can see, the old oil gets discolorized and old, and then you got the new oil. So what I'll do is I'll take the cap, the really good cap, I'll put it on this oil, get it gun, and I'll dispose of this. So hopefully this helped you guys out, gives you an idea, and you know, I'm glad to share the video with you. And let me know if it helped you guys out. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.